Koreans today consume on average less than a standard 150-gram bowl of rice per day, according to the Ministry of Data and Statistics, continuing a steady decline that began in 1980 with annual per capita consumption now less than half of what it was 30 years ago.
국가데이터처 발표에 따르면 현재 우리나라 1인당 하루 평균 쌀 소비량이 보통 밥 한 그릇에 해당하는 150g에도 못 미치면서 1980년부터 시작된 감소세를 꾸준히 이어가고 있으며 1인당 연간 쌀 소비량은 30년 전의 절반도 되지 않는 수준인 것으로 나타났습니다.
Yeah, this is a trend that began, like it said, since 1980. So it isn't anything new, but for the first time last year, Koreans consumed less than 150 grams of rice. So I think 150 grams is considered one serving here. So that's kind of the threshold that finally it fell under. That's down 3.4%. A big reason, not surprisingly, the rise in single-person households. Instant foods are much more popular. Of course, people are busier, I'm presuming. If you look at the overall per capita annual rice consumption, that's about just under 54 kilograms per day. So if you do the math, that comes out to about 147 grams of rice per person there. So another trend here is that because white rice consumption is going down, but mixed grain consumption has held steady. So that means people are probably finding other alternatives like bread.
Yeah. When you say one of the reasons is that there's a rise in single-person households, does that mean single-person households tend to not eat rice?
That's what I'm assuming because people, if you've ever lived alone, it's hard to kind of cook rice
for one person
because I think you throw away more than you actually consume. Of course, there are instant sort of alternatives for rice, microwavable rice and things like that. But I think just the lifestyle of people are changing, and people are just looking for quicker options. You know, you have meal kits these days and things like that. So I don't know. Korea is now becoming a society where rice is maybe not the main staple anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's just so many things to choose from when it comes to food varieties.
Yeah, absolutely.
Compared to, in 1980, you said was when the data was the data was collected initially. I guess back then, you didn't have that many things to pick from. It was either probably Korean food with rice or maybe a few other things. But now, there's just too many things.
Yeah, and if you look at even the bigger picture here, a lot of the agriculture industry, a lot of rice farmers are being hit by this because a lot of them depend on people eating rice. And so the lower the consumption, then the demand is not there.
자, 우리나라 하루 쌀 소비량이요. 처음으로 150g 미만으로 떨어졌습니다. 150g을 이제 보통 밥 한 그릇의 기준으로 삼는다고 해요. 근데 작년에는 147g으로 기록이 됐습니다. 그래서 30년 전에 비해서는 절반밖에 우리가 쌀밥을 먹지 않는다. 그렇지만 이제 잡곡밥이라든지 이런 건강한 쌀 소비량은 변함이 없죠. 오히려 어떻게 보면은 그쪽으로 좀 더 트렌드가 가는 것 같기도 하고.
Yeah, what people need to do is eat more foods that are the so-called rice thieves, like 간장게장. Yes. If you eat 간장게장, that's a minimum 2 bowls of rice.
맞아요. 자, 영어 표현은 아닙니다만 이거를 지금 선생님이 웃으면서 천천히 발음한 이유는 밥도둑을 그대로 영어로 직역을 했기 때문이죠. 이렇게 하셔도 돼요. 물론 그러면 외국인 아마 What do you mean? 이렇게 물어보겠죠.
Sure.
그때 설명을 하면 됩니다. How do you describe what a rice thief is?
Well, I think it's hard to explain because, in Korean diets, you have side dishes and you eat it with rice. So it's just any food that would require you to eat a lot of rice.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Any food that requires you to eat a lot of rice. 이런 표현 지금 바로 선생님이 자연스럽게 표현해 주셨는데 외워두는 것도 좋겠네요. 자, 표현 보겠습니다. A standard 150-gram bowl of rice.
Yeah, so when you say a standard of something, it means it's sort of the basis. So when we're talking about nutrition, calorie count, like you said, it's the standard one single serving of rice it weighs about 150 grams.
그렇죠. 표준이 되는 150g 분량의 밥 한 그릇. standard 150g bowl of rice. 앞에 관사 어가 붙었고요. Now what about per day, per person, per anything?
Yeah, per, P-E-R, right? Whenever you're showing a sort of rate or a ratio, I think it's Latin, but per, it means for each
Yep.
or according to or by means of.
특히 사람에 관해서 per person하고 per capita가 있는데 there's a difference between the two, isn't there?
Sure, per capita, I think, is used more in economic terms, right? It's by
definitely.
population, right? But per person would be individual people.
네, 물론 둘 다 1인당이라는 뜻이지만 공식 자료에서는 per capita라는 표현을 씁니다. So for example, GMP is gross national product. And we often talk about the per capita GMP,
Yeah.
not the per person GMP.
No.
그래서 이런 이제 데이터나 경제 뉴스에서는 1인당이라고 할 때 per capita를 쓰고요. 일상 대화 속에서는 그냥 한 사람당 per person 쓰면 됩니다.
Yeah, and if we have real quickly,
Sure.
when you say standard 150 gram bowl of rice, to describe the bowl, you have standard and 150 gram adjectives. When you talk adjectives in
Yeah.
English, sort of the order of adjectives. Why is it not 150 gram standard bowl of rice? It's weird because I think for native speakers this comes naturally, but there is a mnemonic to remember.
Is there?
I think it's OSA comp when you talk about opinion, size, age, color, origin, material, and purpose. You don't have to memorize this, but
Okay.
let's say, for example, you have a cute, small, white Korean handbag. You would say it in that order. But if you say it sort of a Korean, small, cute, new handbag, it doesn't come naturally. So you don't have to memorize this, but I think the more you sort of use it, you'll get accustomed to it.
It's a good point, and it's not one that can be learned easily, as you said.
No,
But it's,
unfortunately.
그렇죠. 명사 앞에 붙는 형용사에도 사실은 순서가 있어요. 그걸 지금 다 다룰 수는 없지만, 네, 거기 나름대로의 규칙이 있기는 합니다. All right, here's the headline again. Koreans today consume, on average, less than a standard 150-gram bowl of rice per day, according to the Ministry of Data and Statistics, continuing a steady decline that began in 1980, with annual per capita consumption now less than half of what it was 30 years ago. Here's headline number 2.
A massive winter storm has slammed more than half of the U.S., bringing heavy snow, widespread ice accumulation, and dangerous sub-zero temperatures, with around 200 million people under extreme winter weather alerts.
미국 내 광범위한 지역에 최악의 한파를 동반한 눈 폭풍이 밀어닥쳐 곳곳에 폭설과 대규모 결빙 사태 및 극한의 영하 기온이 초래된 가운데 미국에서만 약 2억 명이 이번 한파의 영향을 받은 것으로 전해졌습니다.
Yeah, so roughly 2 in 3 Americans are being affected by this winter storm. I think the latest information I have, up to 1 million people right now are without power. And this is, it spreads all the way down from Texas all the way up to the Northeast. So it is a massive storm. It's caused at least 17,000 flight delays. Schools are being shut down on Monday. At least 7 deaths are reported as well. I've seen images of cars on freeways in Texas being stranded because the highways are being frozen over.
그렇죠. 지금 이제 많은 미국의 주에서 비상사태가 선포돼서 많은 사람들이 영향을 받고 있는 거를 영어로는 around 200 million people are under these weather alerts라고 표현을 했어요. 그래서 한 2억 명 정도가 어떻게 보면은 지금 이제 비상사태 선포가 되면서 영향을 받았다고 볼 수도 있겠지만 또 앞으로 어떻게 될지 모르기 때문에 영향을 받을 것이다라고 또 볼 수가 있겠죠. Alright, let's have a look at some expressions here. Massive.
Yeah, if something's massive, it's very large, or it could be heavy. It's just very extensive in size, right?
그렇죠. massive는 굉장히 크다라는 뜻입니다. gigantic, large, massive.
Yeah, colossal.
Similar. Yeah, exactly. All right, what about widespread?
Yeah, widespread. If you just look at the words, if something is spread out wide, it means it's existing or happening. It's affecting many, many people, in this case, people and area over a large region, right? Or a large group.
Exactly. It's spread widely. 넓게 퍼져 있다. 이걸 한 단어 widespread라고 라는 형용사로 묘사할 수 있는데요. 여기서 뭐라고 했냐면 widespread ice accumulation. 얼음이 이제 그 눈이 많이 쌓여 있는 걸 얘기하고 있는 건데 이게 한 지역이 아니라 미국 전역에 걸쳐서 최악의 한파를 지금 미국이 겪고 있습니다.
Yeah. So stay safe. If you're in the U.S. right now, my parents live in Toronto, and Toronto gets it even worse than the U.S. It's much more north. So
Exactly.
if you're out there, be safe.
자, 그럼 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. A massive winter storm has slammed more than half of the US, bringing heavy snow, widespread ice accumulation, and dangerous sub-zero temperatures, with around 200 million people under extreme winter weather alerts.
A vast number of Koreans view income and social status as the strongest determinants of health, surpassing genetics and lifestyle habits, according to the Korea Health Promotion Institute.
한국건강증진개발원이 발표한 보고서에서 국내 성인 다수는 자신의 건강 상태에 가장 크게 영향을 끼친 요인으로 수입 및 사회적 수준을 꼽은 것으로 조사됐습니다. 이는 유전적 요인이나 생활 습관이라고 대답한 비율보다 많습니다. Alright, so basically people are saying, I believe that wealth and social status determines how healthy you are.
Yeah, so health is going to be an underlying theme throughout today's show. But
Yes.
this survey went out. About a third of respondents said, like you said, income and social status are the most important factors to determine or influence your health. That surpassed things like facilities, right? Like parks, genetic factors, as well as personal lifestyle or coping skills. And the interesting thing was the answers, the respondents, it was uniform and it was consistent among all demographics in terms of age across generations. So no matter what age you were, you thought that, things like income and money, basically, and social status are the most important. But if you break it down by age group, younger respondents thought that access to physical environments such as gyms, parks, and other facilities were the second most important, whereas older people thought that personal lifestyle and coping behaviors were the most important. And sort of the average amount that people thought was the right amount to spend on health was about 273,000 won, but they actually only spent about half of that, so they're not really investing in their health either.
아하. 그리고 건강에 얼마나 투자를 하느냐. 실제로는 한 27만 원 정도를 써야 적정하다라는 평균치가 나왔는데요.
In people's opinions.
그렇죠. 그렇게 생각한다. 하지만 실제로 투자하는 거는 한 13만 9천 원, 한 14만 원 정도를 실제로 투자하니까 내 마음속으로는 한 달에 30만 원을 쓰고 싶은데 그거에 반도 못 미치는 액수를 쓰고 있는 거네요.
Yeah, I would think it's kind of sad to think that money is also a determinant of your health. I understand if it's access to health care, things like that, it could play a factor, but I'm sure also things like how much leisurely time or how much, time you can spend on yourself. Because if you're busy working, 10 hours a day, then you're not going to have time to invest in your health and things like that. But I always say that you don't need a fancy gym to get a good workout in. I say you can always do workouts at home. People do a lot of home-to these days, right?
Yeah, or you could just jog around your neighborhood if possible.
Take a walk.
그래요. 20대부터 60대까지 모든 연령대에서 이 설문조사 결과 건강에 가장 큰 영향을 미치는 요인은 바로 수입과 사회 경제적인 수준이다라고 대답을 했답니다. 평균치가 그렇고요. 물론 연령대별로 조금씩 퍼센티지는 다르지만 대체적으로 이런 인식이 있다는 것이 연구 결과, 설문조사 결과가 되겠습니다. 자, 표현 볼게요. A determinant.
Yeah, a determinant is a fancy way to say sort of a factor or an element that decides something. You see the word determine. If something is determined, that means it's a decisive factor or an element in doing something.
결정 요인이라고 볼 수 있겠죠. And then lifestyle habits?
Yeah, a lifestyle habit would be sort of your regular behavior or your routine in daily life, often affecting your health and your well-being, right?
Exactly. 자, 말 그대로 생활 습관이 되겠네요. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A vast number of Koreans view income and social status as the strongest determinants of health, surpassing genetics and lifestyle habits, according to the Korea Health Promotion Institute. Here's our next headline.
A new study finds that minimally processed lean pork boasts the same health benefits as chickpeas, lentils, and beans, and could have a positive effect on biomarkers of cognitive and physical aging.
돼지고기를 가공이 최소화된 살코기 형태로 섭취할 경우 건강상으로 병아리콩, 렌틸콩, 강낭콩을 먹을 때와 같은 수준의 이점을 누릴 수 있으며 노화와 관련된 생체 지표도 개선될 수 있다는 새로운 연구 결과가 발표됐습니다.
Yeah, this is a US-based study. And, I think pork, especially in the US, has gotten a bad rep these days. Things like bacon and ham, obviously, are probably not that healthy for you because of their fat content. But in this research, researchers found that pork as the main protein, lean pork, I should say, as well as plant-based proteins like beans, right, and lentils, they resulted in weight loss, but eating pork actually helped preserve muscle mass in older adults, suggesting that moderate consumptions of lean meat could help in your muscle
exactly.
building.
Yeah. When we talk about meat, we often divide it into lean meat or fatty meat. 비계나 지방이 많은 게 fatty meat고요. 그 다음에 그런 게 없는 게 lean meat입니다. 그러니까 우리가 닭고기 중에서도 닭가슴살이 lean meat에 해당되고 그다음에 뭐 닭다리살 같은 거는 조금 더 fatty meat에 해당이 되겠죠.
Right. So they call it white meat and dark meat.
White meat
Chicken,
and dark meat.
Yeah.
So white meat is
breasts and wings. And dark meat would be thighs and what is it?
Wings? I don't know.
Thighs and the drumstick, the legs.
Oh, the legs. Yes.
So if you go to a chicken rest, if you go to KF Thang in the US, you can get a dark meat meal or you can get a white meat meal.
Oh, I didn't know that you divided it into colors like that.
Yeah, and white meat is actually more expensive in the US, but
맞아요.
in Korea, I think it's the opposite way around.
That is very true. 서양에 나가면은 처음에 이제 그 마트에 가서 컬처 쇼크 받는 것 중에 하나가 그건데요. 우리나라에서는 예전엔 닭가슴살 같은 거는 굉장히 싸고 사람들이 많이 안 찾았었고 그 다음에는 닭다리가 오히려 여기저기 요리에 닭도리탕에도 들어가고 뭐 많이 들어가잖아요. 맛있고. 그래서 그게 우리나라에서는 조금 더 비쌌다고 하더라고요. 예전에. 그런데 외국에 가면 그 정반대입니다. lean meat. 이 비계살이 없는 건강한 고기가 더 비싸고 그 다음에 이제 지방질이 좀 있는 건 좀 더 싸고 그래서 예전에는 큰 차이가 있었다고 하는데 요즘엔 갈수록 좀 차이가 많이 없어지는 것 같아요.
Yeah. So
닭볶음탕에도 이제 닭다리살 들어가죠.
Both of them. Before you go out and have samgyeopsal tonight, just make sure these are lean meats that we're talking about, and probably not. Frying them or, grilling them are probably not the best way to prepare.
Exactly. So we're talking about pork. 돼지고기 얘기를 지금 하고 있는 건데 미국의 한 연구 결과 돼지고기 중에서도 이렇게 지방질이 없는 lean meat를 먹게 되면은 병아리 콩이나 렌틸 콩, 강낭콩 먹을 때와 거의 같은 수준의 그런 건강 베네핏을 받을 수 있다고 합니다.
Yeah, and not just lean, we're talking about minimally processed meats,
that's a good point as well. Tell us about that.
So if something's minimally processed, that means if something's processed, it's undergone a lot of changes. There's been additives added to it. If it comes in a can, it's not really in its natural state. So that means it's undergone very little processing.
Exactly. 가공된 음식을 processed food라고 하죠. minimally processed는 최소한으로 가공된이라는 뜻이 되겠습니다. Now, what about boasting something?
Yeah, so if in this case, pork boasts to have these features, meaning that it's more desirable, and it's emphasizing it as a strength or an advantage, and not necessarily we're talking about when we normally boast. If I boast about my accomplishments, I'm bragging, right?
사람이 boasting 할 때는 자랑하다. 그러나 어떤 현상이나 물건이 boasting 한다 그러면 의인화하는 게 아니고요. 이렇게 자랑할 만한 좋은 점이 있어서 이런 이점이 있다라고 해석을 할 수 있습니다. 자, 그럼 다시 읽어볼게요. A new study finds that minimally processed lean pork boasts the same health benefits as chickpeas, lentils, and beans, and could have a positive effect on biomarkers of cognitive and physical aging. Now let's move on to the final headline.
A man from the U.S. state of Arkansas has stepped forward to claim a historic $1.8 billion lottery jackpot, one of the largest in lottery history, after choosing to receive the prize as a one-time lump sum payment, according to lottery officials.
미국 아켄소주에서 한 남성이 복권 역사상 가장 큰 금액 중 하나인 18억 2천만 달러, 우리 돈으로 약 2조 6,470억 원의 복권에 당첨돼 수령 절차에 들어갔습니다. 이 남성은 당첨금 일시불 수령을 선택한 것으로 알려졌습니다.
Yeah.
So there are many different ways you can collect the money, right?
Yeah, I believe so. You can receive it in a lump sum payment, or you can receive it in annuity or in installments, as they say, right? And I think usually in the U.S., these installment payments are paid over a period of 30 years. I think 29 years to be exact, but
Right.
30 payments.
Okay, and when you get it in a lump sum, of course, the tax will be deducted, and normally it's about half of the money, but still a lot, right?
Yeah, well, when the jackpot is $1.8 billion, this man actually took home, the take-home figure was about $835
Right.
million, so a little more than half. Boo-hoo.
자, 당첨금이 18억 달러라고 했는데요. 실제로 이제 수령하게 된 금액은 거기서 세금을 떼다 보니까 8억 달러입니다.
Yeah.
그래서 물론 18억 달러에 비하면은 적지만 뭐 상당한 액수죠.
Yeah, I would be happy with 18만 원. But
Never mind the whole
yeah, we don't need
단위, right.
18억 dollar, but this is actually the second biggest lottery jackpot in U.S. history.
Right.
4 years ago, or about 3.5 years ago, a man won more than $2 billion, and the store that actually sold this ticket actually receives a $50,000 commission as
wow.
well. Yeah, so
그래요?
yeah, I believe the winning jackpot winner, even in Korea, the store gets a little commission.
아, 그렇군요. 이 해당 복권 같은 경우에는 아켄소주에 있는 한 주유소에서 판매됐다고 하는데요. 그 가게라고 해야 될까요? 그 상점
Yeah,
또
the store, yeah,
네,
the
네. 일정 금액 돈을 받게 된다고 합니다. 5만 달러라고요?
$50,000,
Oh,
and the winner has chosen to remain anonymous, which is probably a smart thing to do.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
익명을 유지하기로 그래서 신원이 밝혀지지는 않았습니다. Alright, let's have a look at to step forward.
Yeah, when you step forward, especially when you claim a prize like this, you're voluntarily identifying yourself, right? To claim responsibility or saying, hey, it's me, I'm the winner.
So we don't know who it is, but someone has stepped forward. 앞으로 나와 서다 이런 뜻이 원래는 있죠. 자, 그런데 여기서는 step forward to claim a lottery jackpot. 이 당첨금을 받기 위해서 뭐 모습을 드러냈다라든지 수면에 드러났다 이런 뜻인데 그런 사람이 있다. 이거를 이렇게 묘사한 겁니다. And then it says this person decided to receive the payment as a one-time lump sum payment.
Yeah, so I think I explained it earlier, but it's a single payment made all at once rather than in multiple installments. A lump of something is sort of like a 덩어리, right?
Yes,
Like,
that's exactly what a lump is.
at Christmas time, if you're a bad child, Santa will give you a lump of coal, as they say, right?
Ah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yes. 어린이 여러분, 네.
For next Christmas.
1년
yes.
동안 naughty child,
Yeah.
말 안 듣는 아이가 되면 크리스마스 때 산타 할아버지가 선물 대신에 석탄 덩어리를 준답니다.
Yeah.
A lump of coal.
Yeah.
럼프가 덩어리예요.
Yeah, another example would be I know women, when they check for breast cancer, they have to check for lumps, right?
그렇죠.
Yeah.
네, 맞습니다. 자, 그래서 lump라는 게 이제 덩어리인데 lump sum payment는 뭐냐면은요. 한 번에 큰 덩어리의 돈을 받는다든지 지불한다든지 할 때 쓰는 표현. 즉 일시불. 네, 한 번에 내는 큰 금액이라는
Right.
뜻이에요. 일시금인데 this person decided to receive a one-time 한 번에 받는 lump sum payment.
Yeah. Should we do a little math? Because sum is the answer for addition, right?
Yes. Oh no.
Yeah, what is it? When you subtract,
Subtraction.
you get the difference.
Yep.
In multiplication, you get the product, and then division, the quotient. If I'm correct.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, right.
그러네요. 그래서 우리 뭐 엑셀 펑션 같은 걸 좀 아시는 분들은 잘 아시겠지만 그런 거 이제 위에 칸들을 다 더해줘라고 할 때는 equals sum 그다음에 괄호 하고 이제 몇 칸부터 어디 칸까지 그리고 뭐 예를 들어서 product 이렇게 하면은 곱하는 건가요?
Multiplication, yes.
그래요. 그다음에 뭐 quotient는 나누는 거고 이런 이제 펑션 기능에도 그 단어가 들어가는데 실제로 이렇게 수학 얘기를 굳이 한다면 네, 쓸 수 있습니다.
Yeah, it doesn't mean they're dating, right? It's not sum.
그 썸이랑은 다르죠.
That's sum. Yeah. Okay.
그 썸은 이제 something's going on
Yeah.
해가지고 SOME 썸인 것 같은데요.
You can move on.
콩글리시이기도
Sorry.
하지만 여기선 발음은 똑같으나
There you go.
합계라는 뜻의 SUM인데요. 그냥 한 번에 받는 돈 일시금이 되겠습니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. A man from the U.S. state of Arkansas has stepped forward to claim a historic $1.8 billion lottery jackpot, one of the largest in lottery history, after choosing to receive the prize as a one-time lump sum payment, according to lottery officials. Well, that's it for the headlines.
International gold prices have surpassed $5,000 per ounce for the first time, extending a rally that saw the precious metal surge about 65% last year amid rising geopolitical tensions and a move away from the greenback.
국제 금값이 사상 처음으로 온스당 5,000달러 선을 돌파했습니다. 금값은 지난해 지정학적 긴장이 고조되고 달러가 약세를 보이며 65% 이상 폭등한 이후 지금까지 계속 랠리가 이어지는 모습입니다. And when we talk about a rally, we're talking about something going on, in this case, prices going up.
Yes.
And up.
Yes, instead of going down, down, down.
Yes.
If we're rallying, we're doing better than we were before. And this is what happened around this time yesterday, just after 8 a.m. We got confirmation that gold had risen 0.75% from the previous session, and it broke that $5,000 mark to $5,019.85 per ounce. That's a lot of money for gold. It's not so surprising, though, because we saw a huge increase last year.
Yeah.
65% last year. And it's all to do with safety. Precious metals are considered to be safe.
Yeah.
Gold is safe. When at a time when the stock market may be going up and down and up and down and up and down, and when we have wars or conflicts or tensions, people view gold and other precious metals as being the safe investment. So there's a good reason for why it's happening. So if you've got gold, I'd hang on to it if I were you.
You know, in Korea, traditionally, we give people 돌반지
Yes, a
as
gold
a
ring.
gift when the baby turns 1 year old.
Yes.
Do you know how much a 돌반지 normally weighs?
No, I'm not aware of that.
It's 3.75 grams.
Okay.
We would call it 한돈.
Yes.
And it has to be pure gold, so 24K. That right now will cost you around 100만 원.
That's a lot of money. That's a lot more than my wedding ring cost. I remember when I bought my wedding ring, solid gold.
Oh, solid gold. Okay,
Yeah, for me and my wife, it was around 300,000 won, I think. And that's much bigger than a baby's doltanchi ring.
네. 우리가 이제 돌반지 사보거나 받아본 경험들이 뭐 직접 있거나 주변에 있을 수 있잖아요. 한번 생각해 보시면 될 것 같은데 지금 금값이 얼마나 많이 올랐냐면 오늘 0시 기준 금값입니다. 이제 순금 한돈, 보통 이제 금 돌반지가 한돈 기준이거든요. 3.75g이 100만 원이 넘습니다. 아휴, 굉장히 많이 올랐죠. 물론 이제 팔 때는 그거보다 적게 받게 됩니다. 한 87만 원 정도로 제가 알고 있는데 요 시세는 계속 변동이 되고 있기 때문에
네.
딱히 얼마다 이렇게 말씀을 드리기는 어렵지만 그만큼 금값이 상당히 많이 올랐습니다. Because of geopolitical tensions, that's one reason.
Yes. Well, tensions when there's some kind of difficulty between someone or some group or some things. And in this case, when we talk about geopolitical, geo meaning the world, political, all to do with politics. So it's tensions between other countries countries over politics or diplomacy. We can talk about geopolitical tensions in Eastern Europe because of the war in Ukraine, where you've got Poland, you've got Finland, you've got Russia, you've got Ukraine.
Yeah.
There's a lot of tension between those countries.
지정학적인 긴장 상태를 geopolitical tensions라고 합니다. So the representative one right now is the situation with Greenland and
Absolutely,
how the
yes.
US and the Trump administration really wants to own the land. And
Yeah. So there it's Europe and Greenland versus the US. Those are the two big blocks, and those are the geopolitical tensions.
Another reason gold prices have gone up is obviously because of the greenback becoming less desirable.
Yes.
The greenback meaning
Not a toad or a frog, it's the dollar.
the dollar. 그래요. greenback가 바로 미국의 달러 지폐를 얘기하는데 그냥 미국 미 달러를 또 다른 말로 greenback라고 얘기할 수 있습니다. So because of all the geopolitical tensions, it is less desirable to invest in dollars, and therefore people are turning more to gold, and that's boosting up the prices.
I thought it was Kedehan. You know, everything's golden.
Oh, maybe they knew that gold prices were going to go up. And of course, gold is a type of precious metal.
Yes, and precious means valuable, worth a lot. If anything is precious, we can talk about monetary value, but I'm sure everyone has something that is precious to them. Like I have precious photos of my family, of my past experiences, something that is valuable to us. Precious metals are worth a lot of money. The main ones, the ones that everyone talks about, it's got to be gold, it's got to be silver, it's got to be platinum, but then there's also palladium and iridium and osmium and rhodium and ruthenium, which are less known.
Yeah.
But certainly gold, silver, platinum are the big three, I think.
Precious metals가 있고요. Precious stones도 있습니다. Precious metals는 이제 귀금속, 뭐 금, 은, 백금 등등을 얘기하겠죠. Precious stones라고 하면은 뭐
Would be
diamonds,
rubies, diamonds, emeralds, sapphires.
맞아요. 이런 것들 보석이 되겠습니다. All right. Well, here's the headline again. International gold prices have surpassed $5,000 per ounce for the first time, extending a rally that saw the precious metal surge about 65% last year, amid rising geopolitical tensions and a move away from the greenback. Let's move on to the next headline now.
The Wirral Line tram is set to begin trial runs on its operational route next month, following the installation of all necessary depots and tracks, bringing street-level trams back to Seoul for the first time in 58 years.
58년 만에 서울에 다시 도입되는 노면 전차인 위례선 트램이 차량 기지와 궤도 등 기반 시설 설치를 모두 마치고 다음 달부터 실제 운행 노선에서 시운전에 돌입합니다. Tell us more.
This is very exciting for me.
Yes.
I like a tram, and I've never seen a tram in Seoul.
Well, because there hasn't been one in
I
58
know.
years.
It's going to run from Machon Station, which is on line number 5, to Bokjong Station, which is on line number 8, and then to Namwire Station, also on line number 8. And they're going to start these trial runs in February. They're going to check 16 different categories to make sure everything is working properly. You know, that comes to safety, that comes to the facilities they have, that comes to just making sure everything is working. And then they're going to be testing the railway system as well. They're checking from April to December to make sure everything is working. And then hopefully the tram will be up and running and going, and everybody will be able to take it. The other thing is, if you're a driver in the area, you're going to have to pay attention, because we've not been used to trams for so long. But drivers are going to have to look out for them, slow down, avoid them. And pedestrians too. You can't look at your phone now. If there's a tram coming, you're going to have to step out
Can't
the
look
way.
at your phone anyway.
Well, I know. I'm
But
just
yes,
saying.
Yes, exactly.
I'm not saying you should look at your phone on the road.
Well, did you know that trams were a huge mode of transportation in Seoul in the early 1900s?
They were.
Yeah.
They were also a danger, because some drunken older men would lie down on the tracks because they were cool.
Oh,
and
my
they would
goodness.
have to move out
Didn't
of
know
the way.
this story was going to go there. But
Terribly sorry. But yes, yeah. So I'm very excited to have trams back. I think they're a great form of transport, because the subway, you can't see anything. On the tram, you get a view of where you are.
그래요. 이 노면 전차. 우리나라에 처음 도입된 거는 1899년이라고 해요. 그리고 한 거의 60년 동안 서울에서 대표적인 교통수단으로 오래 쓰이다가 1968년 10월까지만 운행을 하고 그 다음에는 없었죠. 뭐냐면 그 외에도 너무나 많은 교통수단들이 생기니까. 그런데 이렇게 2026년이 돼서 지금 이제 시운전에 다음 달부터 들어가고 빠르면 아마 12월 달 올해 말에 개통을 할 것으로 이렇게 예상이 됩니다. 와, I think there's a bit of 낭만이 있는 것 같아요. You know, it's quite romantic in a way. If you
Absolutely.
Think of it. I mean, this isn't going to be the old-fashioned tram. Don't get me wrong.
But there is
new.
a nostalgia. I mean, is it San Francisco, I think, where they still have the tram network
so.
going?
맞아요,
and that's, people love going there. One of the big attractions is getting on the tram.
맞아요. 외국에도 이렇게 도심지에 트램이 다니는 경우들이 있는데 우리도 이제 돌아옵니다. 물론 이 위례선의 트램은 옛날식 트램이랑은 많이 다르긴 하죠. 특히 전기선 없이 배터리 전력으로 이렇게 운행하기 때문에 그런 점이 좀 굉장히 미래지향적이고 또 요즘 시대에 맞다라는 생각이 듭니다. 자, 어디서부터 어디까지 운행하는지 선생님이 설명을 해주셨는데 다시 한번 말씀을 드리면은 이제 위례 신도시를 통과하면서 마천역에서 남위례역으로 가기도 하고 그 다음에 이렇게 옆으로 살짝 나와서 마천역에서 복정역으로 가는 루트도 있습니다. 이렇게 서울을 통과해서 특히 위례를 통과하기 때문에 위례선 이렇게 부르는 그런 전차가 되겠습니다. Alright, so let's have a look at some expressions. A trial run.
Yeah, we're not talking about a trial in court here. We're talking about trialing something, which means testing it. If we give something a trial run or we have a trial placement, a trial project, whatever it is, we're testing it out. It's not the finished thing. It's like a prototype. We're seeing if it works or not.
Exactly. 그래요. 자, 그다음에는 여기 이제 trial run 그러면 시운행이 될 텐데 depot 아니면 depot라고도 부르는 거.
I used both today. Eagle-eared listeners would have heard depot in the first headline reading and depot in the second because I went, which one am I using? I think depot is the more natural one for me.
Okay.
And a depot, a tram depot or a bus depot is where the trams and the buses end up at the end of the day. It's where they start at the start of the day. It's where the drivers meet and clock in. It's where the repairs take place. It's where they get fueled up. It's where everything happens at the depot.
Exactly. 자, 차고지라는 뜻인데요. D-E-P-O-T. 마지막 T는 발음이 안 되고 앞에 E는 depot라고 발음해도 되고
네.
depot라고 발음해도 됩니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. The Wiré Line tram is set to begin trial runs on its operational route next month, following the installation of all necessary depots and tracks, bringing street-level trams back to Seoul for the first time in 58 years.
A record heatwave across southeast Australia is expected to peak during the coming days, bringing extreme fire danger and temperatures nearing 50 degrees Celsius in multiple states.
호주 남동부 지역에 기록적인 폭염이 예고되면서 화재 위험이 극도로 높아지고 많은 주에서 기온이 섭씨 50도에 육박할 것으로 알려졌습니다. Oh my goodness, tell us about this.
It's been going on a while. It's on track for 7 to 8 consecutive days above 40 degrees. And this is a large sections of New South Wales and inland, not the coast. The coast is still getting hot weather, but it's inland that's really suffering. It's the
Victoria,
longest... The longest stretch they've had since the 1930s. And Melbourne is going to see its highest maximum temperatures for about 17 years. It's really, really hot. It's really, really dry. Humidity has gone below 10%, and that means fires.
Yeah.
To be honest, this is a common thing all over the world now. It comes to January and wildfires are an issue. In Korea, it's cold, but it's dry. In Australia, it's hot and it's dry. In California, it's dry. It seems to be a more and more common occurrence. So there aren't any wind warnings yet, but the fire risk is elevated, hoping that everyone in New South Wales is staying safe.
Yeah, absolutely. 자, 호주는 남반구 국가죠. 그래서 여름이기는 한데 그냥 여름도 아니고요. 정말 20년 만에 최악의 폭염이 예보가 돼 있는 상태입니다. 많은 지역이 특히 남동부 지역에 있는 많은 곳이 40도 이상, 거의 50도 가까이 기온을 기록하고 있습니다. A lot of people are saying this is taking them back to 2009.
Yeah.
Black Saturday, of course, when the massive fires in Victoria. led to the deaths of 173 people.
Yeah, it's awful, the tragedies that have happened because of the heat and because of the dryness. And I think every Australian is very aware of the dangers that can arise. And
Yep.
hopefully everybody is protecting themselves.
Well, high temperatures are expected in the coming days,
Yes.
as well as, well, it's already very hot. But what's
Yeah.
that?
The coming days means in the next few days. If it's Tuesday, the coming days is going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday probably. Could go a bit longer, but then you'd get into the coming weeks.
Right.
So we can use it for any time period, the coming hours, the coming months, the coming years. It just means in the near future, within this expanse of time.
앞으로 며칠간이라는 뜻으로 in the coming days. 자, 지금 말씀하신 대로 뒤에 days 대신에 in the coming weeks 하면은 앞으로 몇 주간
네.
이런 식으로 바꿀 수 있습니다. Now, what about nearing 50 degrees?
It means it's not quite at 50 degrees, but it's getting close. If we're nearing to something, we don't get there, but we get very close to there.
Exactly. Near can be used as a verb, as you can see here. 가까워지다 라는 뜻으로 near를 쓸 수 있습니다.
But you can't say faring. It's only nearing.
Point. faring은 없네요, 진짜.
Yeah.
nearing은 있는데. 자, 그래서 50도에 육박한 그런 기온이다. 가까워진다. 이런 뜻으로 쓰였죠? 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A record heat wave across southeast Australia is expected to peak during the coming days, bringing extreme fire danger and temperatures nearing 50 degrees Celsius in multiple states. Let's move on to the next headline.
Abnormal behavior during the REM sleep stage, often involving screaming, laughing, and other violent outbursts, may signal deteriorating cognitive function and increase the risk of neurodegenerative diseases, such as dementia or Parkinson's disease, according to Korean researchers.
수면 중 소리를 지르거나 발길질을 하는 등 심한 잠꼬대 증상을 보이는 렘 수면 행동 장애가 있을 경우 이는 인지 기능 저하의 신호일 수 있으며 치매나 파킨슨병과 같은 신경 퇴행성 질환의 위험을 높일 수 있다는 한국 연구진의 연구 결과가 발표됐습니다. Tell us more about this study.
Well, it's good to know. It's not everybody who suffers from these kind of sleep patterns, these abnormal behaviors, but certainly at Seoul National University Pundang Hospital, they've been looking at these patients who have this long-term IRBD, isolated REM or REM sleep behavior disorder. And that's when they're dreaming, they laugh, they scream, they move their limbs, they have these kind of outbursts, and they have showed that there is a link to declines in attention, declines in working memory, and declines in overall memory function. Also, verbal, visual memory. If you have it for a long time, for more than 10 years, you do have this cognitive deterioration. And so that can lead to other problems such as Alzheimer's or Parkinson's, dementia, and so on and so forth. There's a greater chance of you suffering from brain problems as you get older.
Yeah, absolutely. When you say cognitive, we're talking about things to do with your brain.
Yes.
지능과 관련된 것을 이제 cognitive라고 얘기를 하죠. 그다음에 neuro라고 하면은 신경과 관련된 건데요. neurodegenerative는 신경 퇴행성 disease
네.
질환이 되겠습니다. REM sleep, 이 REM 수면 행동 장애라는 거는 이 우리 REM sleep일 때 우리가 이제 꿈을 꾸잖아요. 그런데 그 꿈의 내용을 실제인 것처럼 이렇게 아주 심하게 잠꼬대를 하고 소리를 지르고 그러는 것들을 이제 REM 수면 행동 장애라고 합니다. So it's not abnormal to just dream about something. That's perfectly normal.
And it's okay if once in a while you suddenly say something in your dreams
Yeah.
out loud. It's when this is happening every night, happening consistently.
그렇죠. 근데 여기서 말하는 이제 REM 수면 행동 장애에 해당이 되려면은 screaming, laughing, and other violent outbursts. 정말 어떻게 보면 좀 과격하게 소리를 지르고 하하하하 웃고 또 그 외에도 조금 더 폭발적으로 보이는
네.
행동들을 할 때 이렇게 부른답니다. 이런 증상이 자주 일어난다라고 하면은 아마도 인지 기능이 조금 떨어지는 것이 아닐까 좀 의심을 해볼 수 있다라는 게 분당 서울대병원 정신건강의학과 연구팀의 연구 결과가 되겠습니다. 최근에 이제 국제학술지인 Sleep에 이 내용이 게재가 됐어요. Let's have a look at outbursts.
Yes, an outburst is going to be some kind of sudden, strong action or vocalization. So a scream, a shout, a kick, a punch, these are all outbursts. We often use it talking about when people are angry. We talk about an angry outburst from someone when they just can't take it anymore and they've got to say what they feel.
갑작스러운 폭발을 an outburst라고 얘기합니다. And what about deteriorating?
If something deteriorates, it gets worse. It gets less and less powerful or less good or just sicker and sicker. So, for example, I think of the vegetables in my fridge deteriorating because I bought them last week and I haven't used them yet.
No, Paul. 자, 뭔가 더 악화되거나 나빠질 때 deteriorate라고 하죠.
네. 그거 어려운 말이요. Difficult to pronounce.
맞아요. deteriorate. deteriorate. 네. 알겠습니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. Abnormal behavior during the REM sleep stage, often involving screaming, laughing, and other violent outbursts, may signal deteriorating cognitive function and increase the risk of neurodegenerative diseases such as dementia or Parkinson's disease, according to Korean researchers. Now let's move on to our final story.
A recent study finds that people who complete an hour-long gym workout can accumulate up to 10 times more bacteria under their fingernails than the average toilet, likely due to repeated contact with shared equipment and sweat-soaked mats used by hundreds of other gym-goers.
헬스장에서 약 60분간 운동한 사람은 손톱 밑에서 변기 표면보다 최대 10배 많은 수준의 세균이 검출될 수 있다는 연구 결과가 나왔습니다. 이는 여러 사람이 땀에 젖은 상태로 각종 운동기구와 바닥 매트를 반복적으로 사용하는 구조 때문인 것으로 보입니다. Tell us more.
Yeah, even if you think your hands are clean and your fingernails are clean, they could still have lots of horrible things on there. This study has shown there's Staphylococcus, there's Enterococcus, there's Bacillus, and E. coli, which are all rather nasty germs that can cause skin infections and rashes and that kind of thing. And, well, they tell you not to touch your face. Don't share personal items. Don't share towels. Wash your hands and keep your nails trimmed if you are going to the gym, because chances are the things you're touching are going to be very dirty.
Exactly. Now, the sample size was very small, I have to admit. According to the New York Post, 4 people and their fingernails were looked at.
Yes.
I guess
It's a very small sample size.
However, they had all exercised for 60 minutes. That was part of the experiment. And, it was just at a normal gym.
Yeah.
And they found out that in some cases, they indeed had way more bacteria under their fingernails than you would have from, touching a toilet seat.
Well, it makes sense. If the gym is not cleaning the equipment, then every day dozens of people are using the same machines, touching the same machines, sweating. And, sweat left and not washed can cause all sorts of bacteria to multiply.
Sweat and bacteria can accumulate.
Yes, they can get bigger in number. They can add up. They can increase. This is the word accumulate.
accumulate는 축적되다예요. 그래서 이렇게 ACC로 시작되는 단어들 중에 이렇게 합계를 뜻하는 경우들이 있습니다. 뭐 숫자와 관련된 단어들도 꽤 있고요. accounting도 있을 수 있고요. 또 뭐가 있죠? ACC로 시작되는
Well, accurate.
Okay.
Accent.
Words that have to do with numbers.
I can't think of any, Sue.
I shouldn't have mentioned it. But yes, in this case, accumulate means 쌓이다, 축적되다. And then if you have a gym goer, then you have
someone who goes to the gym. We use the suffix goer, -goer, with lots of things. Theatre goer, concert goer, pub goer, restaurant goer. It can be used just as somebody who goes to this kind of place.
그렇죠. 자, something goer 그러면은 어디에 가는 사람입니다. 그래서 영화관에 자주 가는 사람들은 movie goer.
Yeah.
또 레스토랑 여기 자주 다니는 사람이다. 그럼 restaurant goer라고 부를 수 있겠죠?
Museum goer,
Sure.
gallery goer.
그렇습니다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. A recent study finds that people who complete an hour-long gym workout can accumulate up to 10 times more bacteria under their fingernails than the average toilet, likely due to repeated contact with shared equipment and sweat-soaked mats used by hundreds of other gym goers. All right, well, that's it for the headlines this morning.
Korea's benchmark Kospi closed above the 5,000 point mark for the first time ever on Tuesday, boosted by a jump in semiconductor shares on earnings optimism, despite U.S. President Trump's threat to raise tariffs on Korean imports.
한국산 제품에 대한 트럼프 미국 대통령의 관세 인상 압박에도 실적 기대감에 반도체주가 급등하면서 어제 코스피가 사상 처음으로 5,000포인트를 넘겨 장을 마쳤습니다. So there is optimism in the market amongst investors despite the renewed threats by Trump. Tell us more.
Yeah. So South Korean stocks surged Tuesday with the benchmark Kospi jumping 2.73%. It closed at 5,084.85 and the tech-heavy Kosdaq rising 1.71% to close at 1,082.59. Meanwhile, the Korean won weakened 5.61 against the dollar, trading at 1,446.2 won at the close. As the Kosdaq topped 1,000 points for the first time in 4 years, heavy buying flowed into the Codex Kosdaq 150 ETF, with individual investors purchasing 595.2 billion won in a single day. That was the largest in Korea's ETF history, and its trading value also hit a record 2.26 trillion won, while the leveraged version of the ETF also jumped 23% with individual net purchases of 274.9 billion won. So that was it was a big day for the ETF market. It was a big day for the Kospi, and they say that the index, its closing not only hit a new high, but it was also an all-time intraday high as well.
Right. 자, 장중 한때 어떠 했다 할 때는 intraday라는 표현으로 쓸 수 있습니다. So the Kospi had actually surpassed 5,000 during the market session previously, but it was the first time that it actually closed
yes.
at over 5,000. 지금 이렇게 종가 기준으로 5,000을 넘은 게 처음입니다. 그래서 종가 내지는 뭐 장을 마감했다 이런 얘기를 할 때는요, 영어에서는 the Kospi closed at over 5,000. 이렇게 closed at, 장을 마감했다 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있습니다. And I mean, we are seeing a lot of optimism in the market, as you said. Optimism and pessimism is used a lot in econ news.
Yes.
경제 관련된 뉴스에서 이런 이제 투자자들의 기대감을 optimism으로 표현을 많이 해요.
Yeah, optimism.
물론 optimism이라는 것 자체가 이제 낙관론인데 그만큼 부정적인 시각보다는 이제 앞으로 그래도 이 상황을 잘 이겨낼 것이다 하는 그런 기대감을 이렇게 잘 표현을 하고 있고
Right.
자주 표현을 하죠.
Right. It's that hopefulness and confidence about the future or the successful outcome of something.
Yeah, but when we talk about optimism in daily life, it's just a positive outlook on life or
positive
a
outlook.
situation.
Right.
그냥 우리가 일상 대화 속에서는 그냥 긍정적으로 보는 것 그런 게 optimism이죠. 그래서 이렇게 긍정적인 사람은 optimist라고 하겠죠. Someone who sees the cup half full and not half empty.
Empty, right.
optimist, pessimist. 자, 그리고 또 코스피 앞에 benchmark라는 단어가 붙었는데요. 이 benchmark는 기준이 된다라는 뜻으로 얘기를 합니다. 특히 우리가 증권시장 얘기를 할 때 기준이 되는 것을 이렇게 항상 표현을 하니까요. 이건 기억해 두시면 좋고
Yep.
그다음에 또 하나 어려운 단어가 많아요. 아무래도 경제 뉴스다 보니까 earnings라는 단어가 있습니다. 보통 우리 대화 속에서는 그냥 you earn something 그러면은 뭐 돈을 벌다
Yeah.
이런 의미로 많이 쓰잖아요. 그렇지만 경제 뉴스에서 earnings 하면은 실적이라는 의미가 있는 거죠.
Yes.
기업의 실적이요. Alright, let's look at one more expression. This is a common one. despite.
Right, right. So we said that it jumped or it reached the 5,000 point mark or it closed at that point despite these threats coming from the U.S. And when we say despite, it means it was without being affected by or in spite of or regardless of.
Despite. 여러분 잘 아시죠? 뭐뭐에도 불구하고. 자, 다시 한번 읽어보겠습니다. Korea's benchmark Kospi closed above the 5,000 point mark for the first time ever on Tuesday, boosted by a jump in semiconductor shares on earnings optimism, despite US President Trump's threat to raise tariffs on Korean imports. All right, let's move on to the second headline.
Searches for trips to Seoul have surged 155% since BTS announced its new Arirang World Tour, according to an online travel booking site, while searches for Busan, another stop on the tour, have posted exponential growth of more than 2,300%.
한 온라인 여행 예약 사이트 집계에 따르면 방탄소년단이 BTS 월드 투어 아리랑을 시작한다는 발표가 나온 이후 해외에서 서울로 향하는 여행 검색량이 155% 증가했으며 또 다른 공연지인 부산의 검색량도 2,300% 이상 폭증한 것으로 나타났습니다. Now, Seoul is, of course, already the most popular tourist destination for people coming to Korea, but just within the past week, more people have been searching for travel, packages or anything to do with Seoul.
Yeah.
And Busan as well.
Yes.
So tell us more.
Yes. This new tour, everyone's looking forward to BTS's comeback. And according to the travel website, they say that searches to Seoul jumped 155%. Searches for Busan have surged as well, rising 2,375% among international users. They say domestic searches also climbed 190% for Seoul and 3,855% for Busan. So this new tour, it's the Arirang World Tour. It's going to be 79 shows in 34 cities. It's going to open right here in Goyang on April 9th, 11th and 12th. There will be shows in Busan on June 12th and 13th. The North American leg begins in April. So I think they're searching for the Korea shows because that's the opener. And also, you want to do it first. You want to go see it first, right? And there will be historic concerts that will be held at the Sun Bowl Stadium in El Paso and the Gillette Stadium in Foxborough. That will be the first and the largest K-pop shows ever to be held at these stadiums. More tour dates in Japan and the Middle East are expected to be announced later.
자, 이번 BTS 월드 투어가 4월 9일에 시작합니다. 우리 EBS에서도 멀지 않은
Yes.
고향.
Yes, at the Goyang Sports Complex.
그렇죠. 거기에서 시작이 되고요. 그다음에는 이제 34개 도시를 순회하면서 월드 투어가 진행이 됩니다. 근데 그 중에서도 이제 부산에서도 콘서트가 있어서 그런지 이 여행 사이트에 의하면은 지난 일주일 사이 해외에서 부산 여행을 검색한 검색 수가 2,300%나 늘었다라고 해요.
Yeah.
그래서 그만큼 이제 한국에 대한 관심이 이 BTS 투어 하나로 많이 늘었다라는 것을 시사하고 있습니다.
Yes.
그래서 어떻게 보면 이게 단순히 하나의 콘서트가 아니고요. 우리나라 경제 또 세계의 경제를 흔들 수도 있는 그런 투어가 된다. 뭐 이렇게도 기사 속에서 분석을 하고 있더라고요.
Yeah.
Let's have a look at a travel booking site.
Yes, a travel booking site. Travel booking site is basically a travel portal. It's an online platform, online website that enables users to search. You can compare and book travel-related services like your flights, hotels, car rentals, and vacation packages all in one place.
booking이라는 게 예약하는 것이라는 뜻이죠.
Yeah.
So you can book a travel package or you can book a seat at a concert. You can, book a room at a hotel. It's the same as reserve, I think. travel booking site는 그래서 여행 예약 사이트가 되겠습니다.
Yep.
자, 그다음에는 exponential이라는 단어도 한번 볼까요?
Yeah, exponential. This is a math term. So when you say something to the something power in English, when you talk about math, when it's raised, when you do like 2 times 2, that would be 2 to the second power. But when we use this in this sort of term, when we say there's been exponential growth, this is talking about a process of very rapid growth or increase.
그리고 제곱 얘기할 때 to the something power 이렇게
Yeah.
하는 거죠?
Yeah.
뭐 2의 5제곱이면은
Yes. It would
2
be
to the
raised
fifth.
to the 5th power. Yes.
to the fifth power
Yeah.
이렇게
Yeah.
표현하는데 그거랑 exponential이랑 관련이 있는 거군요.
Yeah. That would be, we're talking about exponents. That's why. Yeah.
I see. 수학에서
Yeah.
지수 지수를 exponent
Because
하는데
because it makes it grow rapidly. Yeah.
머리가 아파지고 있습니다. 자, 그런데 보통 우리가 exponential이라고 하면은 기하급수적으로 그래서 exponentially 할 수도 있고 기하급수적인 exponential이라고 할 수 있는데요. 많이 쓰는 표현이니까 우리 말에서도 뭐 그렇게 하잖아요.
Yep.
아주 기하급수적으로 늘었어. 이렇게 하는 것처럼 여기서도 searches for Busan have posted exponential growth.
Yeah.
상당히 검색량이 많이 늘었어요.
Over 2,000%.
그러니까요. 네. 서울은 사실 원래도 사람들이 많이 검색하기는 하는데 서울도 155% 늘었지만 부산은 특히 더 많이 검색을 했네요. 최근에. 자, 그럼 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Searches for trips to Seoul have surged 155% since BTS announced its new Arirang World Tour, according to an online travel booking site, while searches for Busan, another stop on the tour, have posted exponential growth of more than 2,300%.
France's National Assembly has approved a bill to ban social media access for under 15s and forwarded it to the Senate for final approval, reflecting a broader global effort to curb children's use of social networks as evidence of their negative effects on mental health continues to grow.
프랑스 하원이 15세 미만 청소년의 소셜미디어 사용을 금지하는 법안을 통과시킨 후 이를 상원으로 이송했습니다. 이번 가결은 미성년자의 소셜미디어 사용이 이들의 정신건강에 부정적인 영향을 미친다는 증거가 계속 늘어남에 따라 이를 규제하려는 움직임이 전 세계적으로 퍼지고 있음을 보여줍니다. Right, so of course Australia has banned the use of social media amongst youngsters, and now I guess France is trying to do something very similar. A lot of countries are actually following in the footsteps of Australia. So tell us more about this.
Right. It seems to be, or I guess it's maybe with Australia beginning or starting. I think it began earlier this year. It might become sort of a global movement. So lawmakers in France, they voted 116 to 23 in favor of this measure that's been backed by the president. So if passed by the Senate, major social media platforms like Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, they will be banned for young teens, while some sites would require parental consent. The president has called it a major step and urged fast tracking so that the ban can take effect by the next school year in September. The law would require age verification and tasks the media regulator with listing harmful platforms. France joins a growing global push to restrict children's social media use, following similar movements in countries, as we mentioned, including Australia, and discussions across Europe and the UK. And I am hoping that similar measures will take place in Korea as well.
Yeah. I can see Asian countries following suit.
Yes.
Because we use it quite a lot here and there are many harmful effects.
Yeah.
Alright, school year라고 아까 하셨는데요. school year가 바로 이제 학년이거든요. 근데 서양 국가에서는 대부분 9월부터
Yeah, it begins in fall.
네, 새로운 학년이 시작이 되죠. 그래서 우리는 3월부터 시작이 되지만 이제 많은 나라에서는 9월부터 학년이 시작이 되고 그러다 보니까 그 1년 후 여름방학이 그냥 단순히 학기말이 아니라 학년말인 거죠. 그래서 그 여름방학이 참 의미가 커요. 아이들에게는 뭔가 마무리된 그런
Yeah.
느낌. 우리랑은 학기가 한 반년 정도 차이가 납니다. 저도 사실 그래가지고 영국에서는 제가 한국에서 제 또래들이 다니는 학교보다 반년을 더 학교를 다녔어요.
Yeah.
한국에 와서는 또 반년을 더 다니고요.
Yeah.
그래서 공부를 많이
It's all,
했습니다.
yeah, it's all jumbled up.
선생님도 그러셨을 것 같은데.
Yeah. I actually, it kind of got mixed up
그러니까요.
in between, going back and forth. Yeah.
그 학기가 다르다 보니까.
Yeah.
Anyway. 이게 왜 지금 학년 얘기를 했냐면은 프랑스에서 지금 이 소셜미디어 사용 금지법이 상원에서 통과가 되면은요, 여러분 9월 1일부터 시행이 된다고 합니다. 그러면은 이제 신학기예요. 프랑스에서. 그리고 또 이것뿐만 아니라 중학교에서 현재 교내 학생들이 휴대전화를 가지고 있지 못한대요. 사용 금지라고 하는데 이거를 아마 이제 고등학교까지도 확대할 수 있다. 그러면서 여러모로 소셜미디어 사용을 제한하는 모습입니다. 아무래도 아이들의 정신건강을 더욱더 많이 신경 쓰고 있는 모습이죠.
Yeah.
All right, let's have a look at some expressions. The first one is forwarding something.
Yeah. It was very difficult to pronounce because it was forwarded it to. But when you're forwarding something to someone, it means that you're handing over or sending, in this case, an official document. But you can also use this in terms of, because everything's electronic these days, you can forward a letter or email
Sure.
to a further destination. You can send it to someone else.
우리가 뭐 톡을 할 때도
Yeah.
어떤 내용을 다른 사람에게 전달할 때가 있잖아요. 그걸 영어로는 forwarding 한다라고 하고요. 더 오래전부터 우리가 이메일로도 다른 사람에게 이 이메일 내용을 전달할 때
Yeah.
FWD라고 쓰인 요 헤더를 비즈니스 이메일에서 많이 썼었는데
Yeah.
지금도 뭐 그러겠죠? 그게 바로 forward의 약자입니다.
Yeah.
그래서 forward라는 것은 전달한다라는 뜻이 있는데 지금 하원에서는 통과된 법안이고요. 이 법안이 이제 상원으로 이제 전달이 됐다.
Yeah,
이렇게
it's
볼
been
수 있겠죠.
sent. It's
그래요.
been sent over.
그래요. 자, 보내지다, 전달되다. What about reflecting something?
Yeah, reflecting something. So that means it embodies or represents something in a faithful or appropriate way.
Reflecting은 반사라는 의미도 있고요. If you look in the mirror, you see your reflection. If you look in the pond, again, you see your reflection. And who's that Greek god who fell in love with his own reflection?
Narcissist.
Yes.
Yes.
That's why we have the term
Yes.
narcissist. 그렇죠. 그런 것처럼 이제 이런 반사되는 것을 말하기도 하지만 반영하다라는 의미도 있습니다. 비슷한 맥락이죠.
Yeah.
So this move in France, 현재 이런 움직임을 하고 있는 것이 무엇을 보여주느냐, 무엇을 반영하느냐, it reflects France's effort to try and curb the negative effects on mental health. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. France's National Assembly has approved a bill to ban social media access for under 15s and forwarded it to the Senate for final approval, reflecting a broader global effort to curb children's use of social networks as evidence of their negative effects on mental health continues to grow. Here's our next headline.
The number of people exposed to extreme heat is set to more than double by 2050 if global warming reaches 2 degrees Celsius, according to a new study showing how energy demand for air conditioning and heating is expected to shift worldwide.
앞으로 전 세계의 냉난방 전력 수요가 어떻게 변할지를 예상한 연구에서 지구 평균 기온이 산업화 이전보다 2도씨 높아질 경우 2050년이면은 극심한 폭염을 겪는 인구가 지금보다 2배 이상 늘어날 것으로 전망됐습니다. 2도씨는 영어로 2 degrees Celsius 이렇게 발음을 하죠. I think the degrees Celsius threw us both off there a little bit.
I kept wanting
Yeah.
to say percent.
Yeah, me too.
It is not percent.
That's why normally when we have news scripts, everything is normally spelt out.
Yes.
precisely because of that, because
Yeah.
it can get a little bit confusing in the moment. But nonetheless, let's talk about the temperature going up and how this means more and more people will be using electricity.
Right, right. So this new study, it says that when global warming reaches 2 degrees Celsius, the number of people exposed to extreme heat will more than double by the year 2050. So it's going to go from about 1.5 billion in 2010 to nearly 3.8 billion. So this was published in Nature Sustainability, and the research finds no region will be spared, with the biggest impacts in South and Southeast Asia and parts of Africa, while even cooler northern countries will struggle due to buildings designed for cold climates. Energy demand will shift with less need for heating in the north and sharply rising demand for air conditioning in hotter regions. The study also finds the largest jump in extreme heat occurs near the 1.5 degree threshold, meaning major impacts are already unfolding, and researchers say urgent adaptation and rapid emissions cuts are needed to protect health, economies, and energy systems.
네. 그러니까 골자는요. 이 기온 상승이 어떻게 전력 수요에 영향을 미칠 것인가 이걸 보는 건데 어느 정도 예상이 됩니다만은 계속해서 이렇게 기온이 오르면은요 굉장히 많은 사람들이 에어컨 없이는 못 살고 히터 없이는 못 살고 이러는 상황이 될 건데 이전에는 에어컨 없어도 살 수 있었던 지역들도 이제 에어컨을 반드시 써야지만 되는 상황이 될 것이다. 그런데 그 얘기는 또 거꾸로 말하면은 엄청나게 전력 수요가 늘 것이라는 얘기가 되겠죠.
Yeah.
자, 지금보다 지금 현재보다 한 38억 명 정도가 앞으로는 에어컨 없이는 절대로 살 수 없는 그런 더운 여름이 이어질 수도 있다라는 연구 결과가 이렇게 나왔습니다.
And I think we're already, I mean, you know, I just said it, but it's true because even for us, I think we were able to live without air conditioning maybe about 10 years ago. It wasn't as extreme as now because I have to have it on all summer these days. But about 10 years ago, I don't think I needed it every day.
I mean, even now in the UK, not all households have ACs. In fact, I would say more households don't have it than those that do. Of course, I don't know if their summers are as extreme as ours, but nonetheless, there's going to be more and more people and households around the world that need ACs, and more electricity usage is expected, which is a problem.
It is a problem.
Right, let's have a look at the expression to be exposed to something.
Yes, to be exposed to something. When we're talking about the weather, it means that we're not sheltered or protected from these weather conditions. But also it can mean that you are able to be easily harmed or influenced or attacked by something.
Be exposed to something은 무엇에 노출이 되어 있다라는 뜻입니다. 노출이 exposure가 되겠고요. 자, 그 다음에는 be expected to shift.
Yeah, shift. Shift means to change in this case.
Yeah.
So it means that the anticipated movement, change, or adjustment of something like trends or positions or opinions from one state, direction, or place to another.
그래요. shift라는 거는요. 바뀐다는 뜻이 있어요. 그래서 우리 키보드에 Shift 키를 누르면은
Yes.
보통 이제 뭐 대문자로 바꾼다든지 그 위에 있는 작은 다른 표시로 바꾸게 되잖아요. 그래서 그런 의미를 원래 담고 있습니다. 자, 다시 읽어볼게요. The number of people exposed to extreme heat is set to more than double by 2050 if global warming reaches 2 degrees Celsius, according to a new study showing how energy demand for air conditioning and heating is expected to shift worldwide. All right, let's move on to our final headline.
Researchers in southern Greece have identified a 430,000-year-old spindly stick and handheld chunk of wood as the oldest wooden tools to be uncovered so far in history.
가는 나무 막대기와 손에 쥐고 사용했을 것으로 보이는 나무 조각 등 그리스 남부 유적지에서 발견된 약 43만 년 전 나무 표본들이 지금까지 알려진 목재 도구들 중 가장 오래된 것으로 확인됐습니다. spindly라고 하면은 굉장히 가는 막대기 같다라는 뜻이에요. 그래서 a spindly stick. 근데 그냥 단순히 막대기가 아니라 그냥 이제 전문가들이 봤을 때, 이걸 도구로 사용했을, 그런 모양으로 약간, 뭐 개조를 했다든지, 이게 도구로
Something's
사용됐겠구나.
been done to it
맞아요.
to make it look like it is a
맞습니다.
tool.
네.
Yeah.
그래서 도구인 흔적이 분명히 있다고 하고요. 또 하나는 handheld chunk of wood. handheld 그러면은 손에 잡는 거잖아요.
Yeah.
Our phones are handheld devices. 손에 잡을 수 있는 그런 이제 나무 토막이 있었는데 이것도
Yeah.
마찬가지로 도구로 사용했을 그런 증거가 충분히 있다고 합니다.
Yeah, so very primitive sort of wooden tools, right? So these tools, they were found on a lake shore in Greece, and researchers say that they are the oldest of their kind ever discovered, dating back about 430,000 years. As you mentioned, this spindly stick. It's slender. It's about 80 centimeters long, and it was likely used for digging.
Right.
And the other one is a smaller piece of wood that may have helped shape stone tools. And these tools, wood is very difficult to preserve, and I'm very surprised that it even lasted 430,000
Exactly.
years because they rot. But they were likely protected by this wet, sediment-rich conditions in this region.
Yep.
They say that no human remains were found there, but the tools may have been used by Neanderthals or other early human relatives. And researchers say the find offers rare insight into the overlooked role of wooden technology in early human survival.
네. 자, 표현 보겠습니다. Researchers have identified this.
Right, identify. It means to establish or indicate who or what something or someone is.
이거다라고 확인을 하는 작업을 identifying이라고 합니다. 자, 그 다음에 so far in history.
So far is a phrase meaning up to the present moment, point, or degree in a process or journey or history.
지금까지 역사상. 자, 다시 읽어보겠습니다. Researchers in southern Greece have identified a 430,000-year-old spindly stick and handheld chunk of wood as the oldest wooden tools to be uncovered so far in history. Well, that's it for the headlines.
4 in 10 Korean high school students and 3 in 10 middle school students say they want to give up on math, with most citing its high level of difficulty as the main reason, according to a 2025 survey.
지난해 설문조사에서 국내 고등학생 10명 중 4명, 중학생은 10명 중 3명꼴로 수학을 포기하고 싶다고 생각하는 것으로 나타났습니다. 이들은 그 이유로 수학 문제의 높은 난도를 가장 많이 꼽았습니다. Alright, so this survey was conducted last year. The results were announced this week. Tell us more.
Yeah, it was conducted at 150 schools nationwide, and among sixth graders in elementary school, 30.8% of them, third-year middle school students and second-year high school students, they all said yes when asked if they wanted to quit studying math. 30.8% of 150 schools surveyed. So 80.9% of the students said that they experienced stress from mathematics.
그래요. 지금 영어 기사는 스트레스라고 표현을 했지만 사실 이제 정확한 그 이유 항목에는 높은 그 수학 문제의 높은 난도 이게 이제 가장 많은 이유로 꼽혔습니다. 전체 설문조사에 참석했었던 응답자 How many students took part? Sorry, again?
There isn't an exact number of students, but it's 150 schools.
Okay. 네, 150개 교를 대상으로 설문조사가 실시됐고요. 학생 6,356명이 참가했습니다. 교사도 290명 이상이 함께 설문조사에 응했는데요. 자, 그중에서 이제 수학을 포기하고 싶느냐, 그렇다라고 대답한 학생의 퍼센티지가 평균적으로 30%였습니다. 학교별로, 학년별로 좀 다르기는 했습니다만 초등학생 같은 경우에는 17%, 중학생은 32%, 고등학생은 40%. 학년이 올라갈수록 더 많은 퍼센티지로 수포자가 있는 것으로 이렇게 추측이 되는데요. 그 이유로는 이제 지금 말씀드린 수학 문제의 높은 난도, 이게 40% 이상의 응답자가 이렇게 얘기를 했고, 그 외에도 이제 교사들 같은 경우에는 왜 그런 것 같느냐, 누적된 학습 결손을 또 이유로 꼽기도 했습니다. Teachers said that they feel like one of the reasons the students can't keep up is because they took a lot of days off these past few years, for either because of COVID or some other reason, as opposed to the past when, let's say, I was in school. It was almost unheard of for students to take that many days off school.
Yeah.
Most students would just come to school no matter what, come rain or come shine.
I mean, if you're comparing to when you were in school, there's also just more distractions nowadays with smartphones and internet connections and just a lot of more things that can, be distractions to students these days.
Exactly. Now let's have a look at the expression to give up on something.
If you give up on something, then you're quitting, essentially. You're saying, I don't want to do this anymore, or I can't do this anymore. So you are stopping what you're doing. You
Exactly.
are giving up.
네, 무엇을 포기하다, give up on something. 사람에 대해서도 포기할 때 give up on you, me, us 이렇게 표현을 할 수도 있어요. 뭐 굉장히 안 좋은 상황이겠지만. 자, 그 다음에 수학이라는 단어 자체도 제가 잠깐 언급을 하고 싶은데 선생님은 캐나다에서 math라고 하셨어요?
Yeah, the short form would be math, but you could be either mathematics or arithmetic is another thing that we'll call it.
그렇죠. arithmetic는 이제 단순 계산, 산수에 좀 더 가깝기는 한데 캐나다는 미국이랑 똑같네요. mathematics를 줄여서 math라고 하는 게
What do you guys call it?
maths.
Maths with an S at the end.
네, 영국에서는
Oh.
반드시 maths, s를 붙여요. 그래서 제가 잠시 후에 rereading 할 때 저는 maths라고 할 건데 이런 차이가 미묘한 차이지만 있습니다. 자, 그래서 a lot of students say they want to give up on maths. 자, 그 다음에 high level of difficulty 볼까요?
High level of difficulty means that, well, it is difficult. So when it's the measurement of how hard something is, and this is saying that that is a high level of difficulty. So it's very difficult.
네, 높은 난도 수학 문제가 너무 어려워서 그래서 포기하고 싶다라는 학생의 퍼센티지가 굉장히 높았습니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. 4 in 10 Korean high school students and 3 in 10 middle school students say they want to give up on maths, with most citing its high level of difficulty as the main reason, according to a 2025 survey. Let's move on to the next headline.
The number of foreign tourists visiting Japan surpassed 40 million for the first time last year, according to the country's National Tourism Organization, with Korean nationals remaining the largest group for a second consecutive year with 9.4 million travelers.
일본 정부 관광국에 따르면 작년 일본을 방문한 외국인 관광객 수가 사상 처음으로 4천만 명을 돌파한 가운데 이 중 한국인이 940만 명으로 2년 연속 가장 큰 비중을 차지한 것으로 집계됐습니다. A lot of Koreans visiting Japan.
Yes, indeed. 9,459,600 to be, well, more accurate. Those are the Korean numbers compared to 42.683 million total. So the total number actually increased by 15.8%, and Korean visitors increased by 7.3% compared to the previous year.
Well, the weak yen compared to the Korean won has a lot to do with it.
Absolutely. You know, when I first came to Korea in 2000, I remember thinking, I should go, or I should try to visit Japan at some point because it's so close. And then I heard about, what the exchange rate was back then, and everything was almost double expensive on, everything that you would spend from eating or for accommodations and things like that. So I was like, maybe not. And yeah, it wasn't until like maybe 2008 or 9 was maybe the first time that I actually went to Japan.
Really?
Once the exchange rate was much more favorable.
All right, let's talk about the word Korean national.
Nationals is just what country you belong to, what citizen that you are. And in this particular case, you actually don't even need the word there. Like you could just go with Koreans instead of Korean, with Koreans remaining the largest group. But instead we said Korean nationals. And why is it in there? Once again, we like to mix things up.
자, Koreans 해도 되죠. 그러면 이제 한국인이 될 텐데 Korean nationals라고 하면 한국 국적자라는 뜻입니다. 그래서 national이 여기선 명사로 쓰였고요. 이런 국적을 가진 사람. 물론 형용사로도 우리가 많이 쓰죠. 그래서 a national survey, 뭐 전국적인 설문조사 이런 식으로 형용사로 쓰이는 게 좀 일반적이라면 이렇게 명사로도 쓴다는 거. 그럼 여러분도 나는 이러이러한 국적자입니다. 얘기한다면 I'm a Korean national. 그런 얘기를 해야 될 때가 있을 수 있잖아요. 공항에서라든지 아니면은 나라 얘기를 한다든지 그럴 때 이 단어 쓰시면 됩니다.
I'd say it sounds a little bit more formal
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you add the word national
Of course,
in there. Yeah.
that's right. And what about consecutive?
Consecutive is one after the other. So like 1, 2, 3, those are three numbers that are consecutive. They're in order.
연이어, 연속적으로 라는 뜻입니다. 그래서 two consecutive years라고 하면은요, 2년 연속 되겠죠? 여기서도 뭐라 그랬냐면 for a second consecutive year. 2년 연속째. 이렇게 말하면 우리말은 좀 어색하지만 네, 그렇게 연속 2년 동안 우리나라의 관광객이 일본을 가장 많이 찾은 그런 외국인 관광객이 되겠습니다. 다시 읽어볼게요. The number of foreign tourists visiting Japan surpassed 40 million for the first time last year, according to the country's National Tourism Organization, with Korean nationals remaining the largest group for a second consecutive year with 9.4 million travelers.
A science-oriented advocacy group has moved its doomsday clock to 85 seconds to midnight, signaling that Earth is closer than ever to destruction amid rising geopolitical aggression, the potential misuse of biotechnology, and unregulated artificial intelligence.
미국 핵과학자회가 지구 종말 시계의 시간을 자정 85초 전으로 앞당겼습니다. 이는 지정학적 분쟁 증가와 생명공학 기술의 오용 가능성, 규제 없이 무분별하게 확산 중인 인공지능 기술 등으로 인해 지금 지구의 파괴 위험이 그 어느 때보다 높아졌다는 뜻으로 해석됩니다. Alright, so 85 seconds till the end of the world, basically,
Yeah.
according to this doomsday clock.
Less than a minute and a half. And I guess this group was actually founded in 1945 by Albert Einstein and former Manhattan Project scientists. They introduced the doomsday clock in 1947 to symbolize the potential and perhaps likelihood of people doing something basically to end humanity because, that was after the atomic bomb and everyone was worried about different things that we might do to ourselves. And as an example, last year, this group had the clock at 89 seconds to midnight. So now it's 85. It's 4 seconds closer to midnight than a year earlier. So they're saying that, we're getting closer. We're going in the wrong direction, essentially, in terms of our planet's safety.
그렇죠. 그러니까 인류 역사를 24시간 시계로 비유를 한다면은 이제 자정이 바로 종말인 거예요. 근데 작년 같은 경우에는 자정에서 89초 전에 지금 현재 우리가 있다라고 했는데 거기에서 또 4초 짧아진 지금은 이제 85초 남았다라고 얘기를 하고 있습니다.
Yeah, at the end of the Cold War, the clock was, according to them, once again, this is a little bit subjective, but they had it at 17 minutes to midnight. So 17 minutes back then. Right now, we're less than a minute and a half away.
Wow.
So, they have a pretty bleak outlook for us, according to this group.
Oh, definitely. Well, this group, the BSA, which is the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists, I believe. This is a science-oriented advocacy group.
Yes, and if something is oriented, then we're talking about directions. I remember in outdoor school, grade 4 or 5, I think it was, we had a class called orientation. And what was that? It was the use of a compass. So we would have a compass and we would follow directions, like go in this direction, this many steps, and we're trying to find things with the purpose of a compass. So with orientation, the direction that you're pointed to is your orientation. So we're saying what direction you're looking at. And in this case, we're talking about a science-oriented advocacy group. So it's in the direction of science.
그렇죠. 어떤 방향으로 간다라는 의미가 있을 수가 있어요. Something oriented. 근데 보통은 이제 뭐뭐 중심에 이러한 경향이 있다. 이런 의미로도 많이 쓰는데 science oriented니까 과학과 관련된 과학 중심의 그런 그룹이다. 이런 의미겠죠.
Yeah. And just one more thing for oriented, I talked about orientation. We do use the word quite often when it comes to starting a new job. When you start a new job, or maybe your first day of school, or first day of university, first day of your high school, like going from middle school to high school, you might have an orientation period where it's a period of time where you can kind of get used to your new school or you get used to your new job. So you can get oriented. You can figure out where everything is. You can figure out, the direction of, where things are in relation to each other.
그렇죠. 오리엔테이션이 바로 이겁니다. 이제 우리 학기 초에 좀 더 익숙해지기 위해서 갖게 되는 그런 뭐라고 말하면 좋을까요? Orientation is like a what did you say? It was like a
Time to we say basically to get your bearings straight, or to get your bearings set, where you can kind of figure out where things are, so that you're not rushing to a class where you don't know where that building is, or you don't know where this classroom is because it's far away from each other. So.
Well, we use it in the same way here, so I think a lot of people will be familiar with the term orientation. But yeah, it has a similar meaning to the word something oriented. Would you say?
I would say in terms of to get because we're talking about directions and knowing where you are and knowing where things are. So this is about pointing in the science direction.
Right.
Whereas in terms of orientation, I think it helps. It's adjustment time so you know where you are in relation to everything in your workplace or in your school.
그렇죠. 그 잘 알 수 있게끔 중심을 잡게끔 하는 그런 모임 그런 시간이니까 그것도 orientation이라고 같은 맥락에서 이해할 수 있겠네요. 자, advocacy group 그러면은 어떤 특정 활동을 하고 있는 단체죠. 무엇을 지향하는 그런 단체가 될 텐데 Science Oriented Advocacy Group고 공식 명칭은 조금 전에 말씀드린 것처럼 The Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists입니다. 자, 그 다음에 is closer than ever 한번 볼까요?
Yeah, if something is closer than ever, then it's never been this close before. So if you measure of all the measurements we've taken before, this is now the closest. So when we're using ever, then we're talking about the period and the most of something. So it's closer than it's ever been before.
어느 때보다 더 가깝다. It's closer than ever. 다시 읽어보겠습니다. A science-oriented advocacy group has moved its doomsday clock to 85 seconds to midnight, signaling that Earth is closer than ever to destruction amid rising geopolitical aggression, the potential misuse of biotechnology, and unregulated artificial intelligence. Let's move on to the next headline.
A faded hand outline discovered in a limestone cave popular with tourists in Indonesia's Muna Island may be the world's oldest known rock art, dating back at least 67,800 years, according to archaeologists.
인도네시아 문화섬에서 인기 관광지로 통하는 한 석회암 동굴에서 사람 손 모양의 희미한 윤곽선이 발견됐습니다. 이 벽화는 지금으로부터 최소 67,800년 전의 것으로 세상에서 가장 오래된 암각화일 수 있다는 가능성이 제기됐습니다. Wow, tell us more.
Yeah, so this was a hand that was outlined, and as mentioned, we're talking about 67,800 years ago, but it's not the only one that was that old in these caves. There's also like a figure that looks like a wild pig, and that was dated back to at least 51,200 years ago. So certainly some very old artwork and things that we can see were probably drawn by humans a long, long time ago.
Well, this was conducted by an Australian research team, and archaeologists believe that many years ago, Australia and Tasmania, New Guinea, and surrounding some of the surrounding islands were all just one piece of land, and then they all broke off to become what they are today. So I guess Indonesia's not that far away. It probably has some significance as to how the people may have traveled in between those areas. Now let's have a look at the expression a faded something.
Something that is faded is no longer as easy to see or figure out, to decipher.
Right.
It's something that, it might not be as contrasted or visible, but you can kind of make out what's there, but might not be as visible as it once was.
faded는 굉장히 희미해졌다는 뜻이에요. 그래서 실제로도 육안으로 봤을 때는 사실 잘 보이지는 않지만 이제 고고학자들이 이렇게 표시를 컴퓨터로 표시를 해가지고 보여주니까 거기 있구나 하는 정도거든요. 그래서 많이 희미합니다. It's faded. It's not that clear. 아무래도 세월의 흔적이 있으니까 그럴 수밖에 없겠죠.
Yeah, often if it's just lost color, we'll call something faded.
Yeah.
Like photos might be faded if they're older. If you're washing maybe a pair of jeans or clothing that you've had, if you've washed it over and over a lot of times, then eventually your clothes will fade as well. It'll lose a little bit of its color.
And memories can fade too.
Yes, they can.
우리도 이제 기억이 희미해지다라고 하잖아요. 영어로도 My memory is fading 이러면은 기억이 희미해지고 있어. 이렇게 표현을 할 수 있는 거죠. 오프닝에서 설명드린 그 할아버지 같은 경우는 his memory faded and disappeared.
Oh, and sometimes if you get a haircut, then you can ask for if you're getting it cut short, you can ask for a fade, meaning, I think in Korean they call it a gradient or something like that.
Okay.
So like you don't want it to suddenly be like a straight line. You want it to fade from skin to hair, so it's gradual.
자연스럽게 이어지게끔 특히 이게 완전 숏컷을 할 때 그렇게 표현을 하는군요. 알겠습니다. 참고할게요. 자, 그러면은 let's have a look at
Dating back.
Dating back. Yes, thank you.
Yeah, if something dates back, then we're once again back, meaning we're going backwards or back in time. We're going in that direction. So the date, then we're looking back in time as to how far back in time that we're looking.
동사입니다. Date back to 언제? 언제까지 거슬러 올라간다. 자, 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. A faded hand outline discovered in a limestone cave popular with tourists on Indonesia's Muna Island may be the world's oldest known rock art, dating back at least 67,800 years, according to archaeologists. Now here's our final headline.
NASA's James Webb Space Telescope has produced one of the most detailed high-resolution maps of dark matter to date, allowing scientists to better understand how the invisible substance influences stars, galaxies, and planets, including our own.
미국 항공우주국 나사의 제임스 웹 우주망원경으로 지금까지 제작된 것 중 가장 고해상도의 우주 암흑물질 지도가 만들어졌습니다. 이로써 과학계는 별, 은하, 그리고 지구를 포함한 행성이 만들어지는데 암흑물질이 어떤 영향을 미쳤는지를 더 잘 이해할 수 있게 될 전망입니다. Alright, this is interesting. We have a new map of sorts.
Yeah, very interesting. So the James Webb Telescope, it actually doesn't just detect visible light the way that we see with our eyes. It can actually see a lot of things that we can't see in different spectrums of waves and stuff. So it's picking up more of this dark matter, which actually makes up 27% of the universe. So they say the universe is expanding, right? Well, if it's expanding, like it's getting bigger or things are getting wider apart, right, essentially when you expand. But if you're getting wider apart, well, then what's left there when it stretches open? Well, they're saying that that's how they figure out what dark matter is, because as things spread apart and there's nothing that's left there, they don't call it nothing, they call it dark matter.
dark matter라는 게 바로 이제 암흑 물질이 되겠습니다. 자, 지금 발표된 이 지도가요, 사상 이제 최고의 해상도를 자랑하는데, it's the most detailed, high resolution map.
Yeah, detailed, meaning that we can see every small little thing so that we can figure out what it looks like more accurately as it's most detailed. And high resolution, meaning, once again, it's just showing how many. We talk about high resolution in terms of how many pixels that we can see on your screen as an example. So how many pixels across versus how many pixels down. So how many total pixels are you looking at in a given amount of space? So if you're talking about a high resolution and most detailed, then it's saying that we can see something very, very clearly.
resolution이 해상도예요. 그래서 high resolution은 고해상도가 되겠습니다. And what about the expression invisible substance?
Well, a substance is just something, like something that you can touch or something that's there. Something that's invisible is something that you cannot see. Visible, you can see. Invisible, we cannot see. So we're talking about something that's there, but we can't see it.
substance도 물질입니다. 우리가 아까 암흑 물질 할 때는 dark matter라고 했는데요. 이번에 눈에 보이지 않는 물질은 invisible substance라고 했어요. 둘 다 물질이기는 하지만 matter 같은 경우에는 조금 더 과학 개념 중심의 표현이라고 보실 수 있고 substance는 그 외에도 굉장히 많은 분야에서 쓰입니다. 뭐 법률에서도 쓰이고 뭐 화학에서도 쓰이고 그렇습니다. 다시 한번 읽어볼게요. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope has produced one of the most detailed, high-resolution maps of dark matter to date, allowing scientists to better understand how the invisible substance influences stars, galaxies, and planets, including our own. And that's it for the headlines with Jason Lee.